founder of Sustainovate Climate Solutions Private Limited. He has been training hundreds of sustainability leaders on different topic and different themes. I requested him that please join and let you moderate the session. I request him to kindly come on stage. Now, one of the very important speaker of this session is Mr. Kumar Gaurav. I will request Nitin Mishra sir to welcome Jay sir on the stage, who is the Senior Advisor, Climate Change and Circular Economy, GIZ, India. I also request one of our senior advisors and mentors of Policy Times Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Sanjay P. Gandhi sir, so you won't have time to sit there. I request AVP, EHSF and Legal at Gujarat Fluorochemicals Limited to kindly come on stage. I request Mr. Ashok Gupta, CMD IRC Supply Chain Solutions to kindly come on stage. I request Mr. Dr. U.K Purbey sir. Sir Purbey sir, if you are here, or he will be here shortly. I request Ms. Varuna Chauhan ma'am, Lead Sustainability Strategy and Reporting, Zomato, to kindly come on stage. To carry forward the session, मैं मेरे colleague Mr. Nitin Mishra जी को request करूँगा sir, आप ये panel discussion को शुरू करें.
Wonderful conference on the agenda of sustainability, because if we see right now the global warming, the temperature increase, and the biggest risk in India and world is the climate, and right now it's very important we should think about the sustainability. Recently we organized the World Environment Day and we had focus on the land restoration and biodiversity. So actually our first panel discussion on the India ESG strategy. As we know कि SEBI has mandated the BRSR reporting for the Indian company, top 1000 company, and all the company, if they want a long-term future aspect, long-term growth, you should adopt the sustainable practices. So actually in today's panel discussion we have the excellent panelist. So I welcome Mr. Kumar Gaurav. Mr. Kumar Gaurav is the Senior Advisor, Climate Change and Circular Economy in GIZ. So welcome Kumar Gaurav sir. We have another panelist, Dr. Sanjay P. Gandhi. So Dr. Sanjay is the Assistant Vice President of EHS and Legal at Gujarat Fluorochemicals Limited. So welcome Sanjay sir. We have another panelist, Mr. Ashok Gupta. Mr. Ashok Gupta is the CMD of IRC Supply Chain Solution Limited. So Mr. Gupta will tell us about how can we improve the sustainability and how can they help us. To welcome Mr. Ashok Gupta ji. We have another panelist, Ms. Varuna Chauhan. So Varuna is the Lead Sustainability Strategy and Reporting for the Zomato. So we have the panelist from the supply chain side, we have the panelist from the industry side. So today in session we will discuss how the India ESG strategy will be made and how the Indian company, the MSME company, the supply chain system. My first question to Mr. Kumar Gaurav sir. So sir, as we know the India has made a strategy for the net zero roadmap for the 2070, and India done a tremendous job in terms of the renewable energy sector, in terms of the circular economy. And if we see the improvement in Indian environmental sector, government has made certain policy for the waste management, for the water things, for the biodiversity. So how do you think India, what is the Indian progress and how the India strategy very better and they will achieve the net zero target by the 2070? And as we know the GIZ has working in many arms for these aspects, and you are handling the climate change and circular economy. So please provide your view how the Indian ESG strategy towards the net zero, how the India will achieve, and what are the key factors, what are the key difficulty you face we should need to be adopt in the policy making, we should need to be adopt in the awareness level, and how other department integration will help us.
Yes. Thank you Nitin, and good morning everyone. So just a brief introduction. GIZ is a German international cooperation agency and we are a German government owned enterprise. So it's like a public sector enterprise of government of Germany. And we get funds from the German government. There are different ministries in Germany, the Ministry of Environment in Germany, there's a Ministry for Economy and Climate Action. So we get funded by the German government to work in India and many other countries, mostly developing countries, on environmental issues, on financial inclusion, health, education, different topics. And these topics are decided as part of an agreement between Germany and that country. So in case of India, we have a Green and Sustainable Development Partnership Agreement that was signed by Honorable Prime Minister Modi and the German Chancellor. So this is a partnership that has been signed till 2030, and there is a commitment from the German government side to work on certain aspects, and one of the aspect is related to climate action. There are several other topics mentioned about circular economy, forestry is one topic as well. So as part of that cooperation, we work on projects, and these projects are looking at different aspects. Sometimes they are policy driven. So we do policy research and advisory to the central ministries, to the state government departments, and even the urban local bodies. Like at the city level, you have to make bylaws, you have to make plans and policies of how the city will manage waste or how it will expand, what will be the facilities, for instance, the smart city mission. And then the other component of our work is related to cooperation with the private sector. So we have worked with organizations like Coca-Cola, Tetra Pak, we have worked with RLG, we are working with ABFRL, Aditya Birla Group. And this is where we have had good experience with ESG related topics, because we are a German government enterprise and we are working with partners in India, whether large companies or smaller companies. How do we know that this is a good company to work with? How do we know that this company is complying to the regulations, is doing good in terms of environmental aspects, social aspects, and governance aspects? And that is where the ESG report makes a lot of difference. It's like a report card of that company, non-financial report card of the company, and you come to know that what are the challenges that company is facing or that sector is having, and what that company is doing to address those challenges. And sometimes it is very company specific, it is bound like within the company boundaries, but sometimes it goes much beyond that. And that is where, for instance, in the emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, there is a scope 1 where you're using the uses of fuel on site or by the company, then scope 2, which is the purchased electricity, and scope 3 is everything else. So it includes material users, it includes taxi services, transport, and then in the scope 3 is where the challenges start coming more. Generally, companies are very sorted when it comes to scope 1 and scope 2 emissions. They are able to quantify properly, they are able to do something about it, or they have a plan that, okay, from 2030, 2040 onwards, I'll not be using fossil fuels, and electricity will be 100% green in 2030 or 2040, whichever year. But in scope 3, the challenges are more. It is almost everything that is under scope 3, all the material that you're using, all the other services that you are sourcing. And that is where we need ESG to go beyond. Like if as a large company, I am implementing ESG, but my suppliers are also implementing ESG, and then it is easier for that company to check that, okay, whether the material that I am consuming is also environmentally safe and it is not having an adverse impact. So as a country, there is a need to widen the scope of ESG. It shouldn't be limited to the large and large companies or companies that have more resources. Also, there is a need to promote it as a, like one way is what government is also doing is promoting it from the regulation point of view, that okay, now you have to report, it is part of a requirement. But also, what are the incentives if somebody is doing good ESG work? What are the and that is where ESG financing comes into picture. So I was just reading before coming to the event that the ESG investing in India has increased from 330 million in 2019, which is quite less, to 1.3 billion in 2023. So if a company is going for raising money, then they get a certain benefit because of their ESG rating. if the company is planning for listing, do they get some kind of benefit for being more ESG compliant or having better rating in ESG? Then globally, it has been seen that the ESG compliant companies or companies that are reporting to GRI standard and following certain global standards, they are performing better economically or financially. So their financial performance also improves when they are trying to do better in terms of ESG aspects. But more than that, it's the wider, like you were giving a lot of example of Europe. And also this is happening in US, that the consumer is demanding it. For instance, just taking an example of Zomato, because we have one of the panelists from there. I'm ordering food, and if I have an option for sustainable packaging, I would prefer that. Maybe it would cost me 5 rupees more, but anyway I'm spending 500 rupees for my lunch. I can give 5 rupees more. So is that option there on the app? And is the app actively promoting that? Then one thing which I really like is all these delivery partners. So earlier you would have all motorbikes, petrol driven. Now you see this DZ, like Easy, or I'm forgetting the name of the company, these green bikes, they're all battery operated. You see these three-wheelers, which are all battery operated. So this is something that maybe actively Zomato, Swiggy and all these companies are looking at. And this is what ESG is, that you actively promote what is green, and it may be costing you more, but eventually, like if just to make a general comparison, our children are more environmentally conscious than us, because they are listening about it in the schools, and maybe the financial conditions are getting better, so they can make more greener choices.
Correct.
So yeah, this is the key thing, that ESG in India needs to be more wider, needs to be more inclusive, and there has to be more incentive for being more ESG, like having a better rating in ESG. Metrics.
So thank you, Mr. Kumar, Gaurav. You well summarized key, like customer preferences towards a sustainable product will change the landscape. So my next question to Dr. Sanjay Gandhi. So sir, you are handling the very large chemical manufacturing company in Gujarat, and as we know, at chemical sector, lot of the hazardous waste will be generated, a lot of the social hazard will be generated. So how can your company will handle the social sustainability part? Because as we know, a lot of the company, they will handle the environmental sustainability very well. But if we talk about the social sustainability at India, the people are only taking such measures towards the social sustainability. But as we know, at ESG, the social sustainability is also very important. So how can your company will take care of the social sustainability? Because everyone is always focused on the environmental part, but social sustainability is always crucial. So how can your company will manage the social aspect, and how do you think the social sustainability is very important for the ESG development?
Thank you, Nitin ji, and very good morning to all. Before I answer Nitin's question, I will just give few data on the overall Indian perspective on the ESG. Only 27% business are well prepared to meet ESG requirement. This is the current scenario. From last 20 years, from 2004 to 2024, the ESG is a buzzword. Everyone talking on the ESG, but actual the readiness is only 27%. Only 15% organizations, suppliers are ready for ESG. Definitely Ashok Gupta ji may say more on in these details. Less than half, 49% of the organizers are well aware about the ESG reporting mechanism. So there is a tremendous pressure on the all the, like just recently SEBI has declared that the top 1,000 companies have to publish their report with the BRSR report and include the ESG. So there are the different kind of the mechanism globally as well as India. So there is some sort of simplification is required to do much more on this part. While 83% organizations have designed the sustainability leader, only one third, 33% of both the internal ESG champion and ambassador. So they are dependent on the outside experts or outside. So there is no crucial awareness among all, not almost 33% or 30% is also good figure Now the question on the social sustainability. Before that, ESG comes. There is a definitely CSR concept is there in India, the profitability of the 2%. And we have, as a GFL, and under circular economy, we have considered almost 96% of our byproduct and waste going to be a use at end user site. So natural resource conservation plus under social sustainability, nearby all our the facility, we have all 3 facility in Gujarat, and almost every facility outside we have done the check dams for water conservation. We did tree plantation every year of around 2,500, plus the agriculture activity. We support the farmers to do the organic agriculture compared to utilize the less chemical fertilizer. So improve the soil fertility. Plus every year we have some concept on the farmer will come for the water conservation project in their farmland, or some recycle of the agriculture waste, like जैसे परेली जलाना है तो हम परेली नहीं जलाए उसके लिए क्या कर सकते हैं, उसके लिए एक्सपर्ट के साथ. और इंडिया की बेस्ट यूनिवर्सिटी आनंद एग्रीकल्चर यूनिवर्सिटी है, तो उनके साथ भी टाई अप है कि कोई ऐसे स्पेसिफिक प्रोजेक्ट्स है जो सोशल सस्टेनेबिलिटी के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट हो, तो हम उनके साथ कनेक्ट कर रहे हैं. और मेरा एक प्रेजेंटेशन भी है, टाइम है तो मैं शेयर करूंगा, जिसपे एनवायरनमेंट पे जो मैं 96% कह रहा हूँ कि भाई सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी में हम 96% रिकवर कर रहे हैं जो एंड यूजर में जा रहा है. लेकिन जैसे ही ESG आता है तो सोशल सस्टेनेबिलिटी होनी वो भी इंपॉर्टेंट है. और सोशल सस्टेनेबिलिटी में मैं एक और ह्यूमन इंक्लूड करूंगा, जो HR कि आपकी फेयर एंड ट्रांसपेरेंट पॉलिसी होनी चाहिए. आज जैसे चाइल्ड को चाइल्डहुड सेलिब्रेट करें, उसके लिए आज वर्ल्ड डे है, तो वो सब प्रिकॉशन की गांव में भी, या कोई गांव से नज़दीकी कोई आ रहा है तो उसके साथ उसके घर पे जो छोटे बच्चे हैं उसको कैसे हम केयर कर सके. सपोर्ट टू schools as well as आंगनवाड़ीज. This kind of the multiple projects are going on with the GFL at the nearby community. Thank you.
So as you correctly said, sir, like through community engagement, through various stakeholder engagement, we can achieve the social sustainability, and it's very important because at environmental sustainability, a lot of the company had taken a lot of the target, but if you want a long-term stakeholder engagement, the social sustainability is very important. So you well described, sir. So my next question to Varuna, you are leading the strategy and reporting part, and as we know ki Zomato has done a very good job in terms of the supply chain assessment, because they had make a very crucial, very important sustainable packaging in their supply chain. They had take several measures, like sir has said, Gaurav sir has said ki you provide the option for the sustainable cutlery. So how your company will make the strategy towards the net zero, and how can you think ki in supply chain sustainability, what are the key challenges which you face? They need to be improvement for a long-term ESG strategy. So how can you handle the strategy in terms of supply chain, and what is your key achievement?
Thank you so much for the question. Good morning, everyone. Very valid points made by the 2 panelists here. And looking at the topic, which is very interesting and very relevant in today's time. I'll start a little with the context of India's ESG strategy a little bit. As a matter of fact, a global strategy for that matter, and a little history on that. So, because we are talking as to how India will intend to meet the ESG strategy. I think the history starts around like 1960, 1970, when, you know, the investors, and it was always an investor push towards investing in social responsible investments. And there was Pax World Fund, which came out in 1960, 1970. 2000, if you see, we see the development of talking about fiduciary duties. And 2010, approximately, we can talk about GRI, when it started with its framework. If you look at India, we were well versed of the development which was happening outside, and we did come out with the Business Responsibility Report, BRR, in 2011, aligned with NVGs. And now we understood the global development in terms of frameworks and reporting, and aligned BRSR with GRI, SASB, TCFD, and other requirements as well. So just wanted to set this context in terms of how reporting is very, very important, and how it's not just good to have, but now it's important that you have to have ESG disclosures. Coming to Zomato's strategy in terms of aligning with the goals of India. So Zomato has come out with 8 sustainability goals. We looked at our material topics, we looked
expert. So when we talk about sustainability in supply chain, you see supply chain again is a very, very large topic. It starts from procurement of material, raw material, manufacturing, and then delivering it to the consumer. So manufacturing, there are different industries which have very high carbon footprint, etc., and they will be obviously covered under scope 3 for any OE manufacturer. But a very large part of carbon footprint is generated in logistics of the whole thing. May it be first mile, may it be last mile. So currently what is being done or what is practical is the last mile thing, where we are going in for EVs and we are also going in for CNG, LNG, PNG, whatever, these kind of vehicles. But unfortunately, for first mile, for large commercial vehicles, say, trucks, trailers, or for ships, aviation, we don't have an option except fossil fuel. So for trucking industry, a biofuel has been introduced, which can be mixed with standard diesel. So that reduces a bit of carbon footprint. But at the same time in logistics, there are other areas where a lot of work can be done. In the first mile, yes, of course, a lot of work is being done. Hydrogen fuel is being talked about. It will take some time. It will take maybe, some people say it might take another 10 years. Because the conversion cost from liquid to gas is very, very expensive. So we come down to other areas of logistics. You see, we talk about warehousing, we talk about last mile deliveries, we talk about reducing packaging. So packaging is also another very big area for, responsible for a large part of carbon footprint. So if we reduce packaging, a lot of automotive companies have resorted to this. They take it in dunnages or in recycled plastic bins or corrugated boxes, etc. So there are these areas which need focus on, which can be implemented immediately. I mean, Miss Varuna, what she mentioned is commendable, really. I mean, 977 tons, you said, metric tons is what you have reduced in a year, I guess.
Because of opt-out option of cutlery.
Cutlery, and that's in a year.
Yeah, we are enabling the customers, and that's one way of enabling the customer
Yes.
to make a conscious choice.
So this is, I mean, if we focus on scope 3, I guess, that is responsible in a very, very big way. If we focus on our vendors to start adopting to sustainability and start with very small measures, very, very small measures. Like today I noticed that we have glass bottles here. I mean, it's the right thing to do. So a lot of things that can be done in supply chain on this field. Yes.
So, thank you, sir. So we have the another panelist, Dr. U.K Purbey. He is the CEO of Hawksvale UK. So, sir, my question to you, as all the panelists has covered how the supply chain sustainability, how the social sustainability, and how the India will make the strategy for in terms of the net zero aspect. So, what your view? How the India has already made a strategy? So, how can you think the private sector, the industrial sector, they will help us in the India ESG journey? And as we know, India has mandated the BRSR reporting, the Indian mandated ESG reporting for the 1000 listed company. So, what is your view? How can the private sector company will help us in the India ESG journey?
Thank you, and good morning, all of you. Since I had started my career with the EHS department, Environment Health Safety, and over the experience of more than 3 decades, What I found that the major lapses is in India is awareness. The lacking of awareness among the industrial worker as well as the private sectors, as you are talking. So just most of the time I am visiting in the industries for the ESG awareness and ESG consultancy. The people are asking about that, what is ESG? So most of the listed company are doing on this. Even practically you will find that for the namesake. They are doing the work on the BRSR. They have to submit the report to the statutory body as per the SEBI regulation. So what I feel that if Indian government and the related ministry must take action about the awareness. Just our one expert speaker told that how we can just create awareness among the consumer who is going to just consume the food. Just we are just putting the 5 rupees extra charges. But how many people are aware about that after paying the 5 rupees, how much we are going to be benefited and our country is going to be benefited, our nation is going to be benefited. So this required the awareness level enhancement from the ministry, from leadership team of the industries. Whenever I am visiting in the industries where nobody is about the awareness of ESG, even which company, those are not listed. And some company are also interested to just adopt the ESG culture, but they are asking to the consultant, how can go ahead. So just my thought process is that, first of all, we should create the awareness among the industries, among the people even. So most of the time you will feel that people are not going to get the actual figure. Suppose we are going to get 1 kg of foods, 1 kg of rice, how it is going to consume the carbon footprint through their ancillary product. Right now I am EHS advisor of the Haldiram. Then Haldiram has a almost turnover of 20,000 crore in India. Then more than 15,000 workers are working inside the plant. And almost 2,000 people are working as a leadership team. So out of 2,000, even 10 people, 15 people are not knowing about the ESG compliance, ESG benefits. Whenever I am visiting for the ESG audit, environmental audit, I am asking the leadership team, sir, do you know you are going to produce the 1 kg of foods, 1 kg of samosas, 1 kg of another food, chole bhature, how much carbon you are just going to consume? They are not having the simple reply. Even they are the MTech in food technology. So basically the awareness required. वो आपको बताएंगे कि हम तो फूड बना करके आउटलेट पर दे देते हैं, मुझे तो पता ही नहीं क्या होता है. 1 kg फूड आप अपने यहाँ जो बनाते हैं वहाँ पे कितने आप फसल फ्यूल यूज़ करते हैं, पावर यूज़ करते हैं, प्लस आप जो एंसिलरी से जो आप रॉ मटेरियल लेते हैं उनका कितना कंजम्पशन है कार्बन फुटप्रिंट पे, कार्बन कैलकुलेशन क्या है, प्लस वहाँ से आपके यहाँ आता है मटेरियल, फिर दैट मटेरियल यू आर गोइंग टू सप्लाई टू द आउटलेट, कुछ उनका इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट सब जुड़े हुए हैं. तो जब उनकी लीडरशिप टीम को ये पता नहीं है, जो प्लांट हेड हैं या बहुत सीनियर लेवल के लोग हैं, तो ये ESG कंप्लायंस एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज यहाँ पे आ रहा है. और जो कस्टमर है जोमेटो स्विगी से जो मंगाते हैं, वो तो आप देखेंगे जो बायर्स हैं उसमें मोस्टली 70% स्टूडेंट्स हैं, 20% ऐसे हैं जिनको कुछ पता ही नहीं है ESG के बारे में, 10% है जो सीनियर लेवल के लोग जो खाना मंगवाते हैं, तो उनको थोड़ा बहुत पता होगा कि हमें कुछ पे करना है, सस्टेनेबिलिटी क्या चीज़ है. तो इन नट सेल जस्ट आई एम गोइंग टू कंक्लूड दैट कि फर्स्ट ऑफ वी शुड spread the knowledge about the ESG among the people. हम जहाँ भी बैठ रहे हैं अपने कम्युनिटी में, अपने सोसाइटी में, RWA में, AOA में, जहाँ भी हमारा सोसाइटी है, समाज है, इंडस्ट्रियल लाइफ है, अर्बन लाइफ है, रूरल लाइफ, हर जगह हम स्प्रेड करें कि सस्टेनेबिलिटी है क्या चीज़ और हाउ इट इज़ गोइंग टू बी रिलेटेड विद द ESG. मोस्ट ऑफ द प्लांट में लोग BRSR की बात करते हैं, BRSR बोलते रहते हैं, कंसल्टेंट BRSR बना रहे हैं, बट BRSR का रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, हाउ ESG रिलेटेड विद आवर मदर अर्थ, हाउ इट इज रिलेटेड विद द सस्टेनेबिलिटी। तो ये एक अपना अभी मेजर चैलेंज है। और मैं मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम जब भी कभी मिनिस्ट्री में भी प्रोग्राम होती है तो मैं यही बोलता हूँ कि इतने टीवी पे ऐड आते हैं, बहुत सारे ऐड आते हैं, तो कुछ इसके बारे में भी बात किया जाए। अगर कोई ESG को प्रमोट करता है तो उसको रिकॉग्नाइज RNR में लाया जाए। तो ये एक अपने इंडिया में एक मोस्ट जो है ना इनोवेबल डोमेन है ESG आज के डेट में। और प्रैक्टिकली देखा जाए तो मोस्टली जो ESG से लोग जुड़ रहे हैं वो उनका भी थीम यही रहता है कि मेरी कंसल्टेंसी, मेरी बिजनेस ज़्यादा चले। मैं अगर ESG का कोई कोर्स कर लेता हूँ तो मेरी मार्केट वैल्यू बढ़ जाएगी, हमारी रेवेन्यू जनरेशन हो जाएगा, एक हमारा स्कोप दिखलाई पड़ रहा है। बट इसके लिए कोई लोग नहीं काम कर रहे हैं कि मार्केट में ESG का अप्रोच लोअर लेवल से है। अगर एक सड़क पे चलने वाला आदमी, एक इलिटरेट पीपल को इतना समझ में आ जाए कि मुझे प्लास्टिक यूज नहीं करना है, तो हम विन कर गए ESG में। और हम फैक्ट्री में जाके बात करते हैं कि कितना कार्बन फुटप्रिंट पे हम कंट्रोल कर लें, कार्बन रेटिंग कैलकुलेशन क्या है, चूँकि हमारे ऊपर गवर्नमेंट की रूल्स हैं तो उसके लिए हम कर रहे हैं। अगर हम मटेरियल एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं तो वहाँ से हमें पूछा जाता है कि आपका पर केजी क्या कार्बन प्रोडक्शन है, कार्बन रेटिंग कैलकुलेशन, अदरवाइज आपको कार्बन का टैक्स देना पड़ेगा। तो हम वहाँ पे बॉर्डर है पैसे बचाने के लिए। बट एक्चुअल सस्टेनेबिलिटी पे लोअर लेवल से हमें एक कैंपेन चालू करना होगा कि सस्टेनेबिलिटी, व्हाट इज सस्टेनेबिलिटी, हाउ इट इज रिलेटेड विद द ESG। That is my submission.
Correct. Sir, you correctly said कि awareness is very important for the sustainability, and it's our responsibility कि if we have the knowledge about the concept of sustainability, we should teach us to our community, our society. So I want to take some final remark for all the panelists. So my question, Jay Kumar Gaurav ji, if you can summarize what are the key steps, 2-3 steps, if you could summarize in a 1 minute, what are the key steps to make the ESG strategy? What do you think? What are the key steps?
I mean, strategy development is generally done at the senior level, so board and senior leadership, they come together and they design strategies. But in case of ESG, it would be good that if it can be a very bottom-up approach, that you have small facilities or you have several plants, you start at the plant level and tell each plant to develop what they think should be the ESG strategy. And it's like a bottom-up approach. But I mean, the steps will vary from different organizations, like the type of organization, type of business that they are in. But like taking a point from what Mr. Purbey said, that it should be all inclusive. It shouldn't be one department at the least prioritized stage in least prioritized part of the company. It should be embedded in every department. It shouldn't be that there are these 5 people or 2 people who are sustainability people or ESG people and only they are concerned about these issues and they are working on initiatives related to this. Everyone in the company should be an ESG person. Then only it will be a real success. So pushing that information to everyone is the challenge, or that is the main step. Everything else will follow.
Correct. Thank you. So Dr. Sanjay sir, if you can share your final remark.
Thanks, Nitin. Basically, almost in India, 49% people in industry are thinking that ESG is a boardroom agenda. But as rightly said, it is from bottom to top as well as top to bottom. Just I can give one example. As a policy matter, we have a policy that we don't use any borewell water or any groundwater. We use only surface water for our manufacturing process. That is a policy matter where the board has decided that we don't want to use. Meanwhile, the plant people have to work on the recovery, reuse, recycle and reduction at the sources where the water consumptions are high. And I am happy to declare that we are almost 30% recycling our all water at starting from the source to ETP and the utilization in scrubber area. Second, the concept of ESG is definitely depends on the awareness and how many people you connect with this drive. अगर एक बंदे ने भी कहीं पे एक पेड़ पौधा लगा लिया, उसकी सर्वाइवल कर ली, लेकिन उनके पास उसने उसके बाद जाके वहाँ पे पानी का वैसे ही यूज़ बिगाड़ रहा है। तो ये सब कॉन्सेप्ट है, ये कॉन्सेप्ट की अवेयरनेस फ्रॉम बॉटम, गांव, सोशल गवर्नेंस प्रैक्टिस में हम कैसे लाए, कैसे रिवॉर्ड करें। As a GFL, we have a practice to reward all the pollution prevention subcommittee members and all the volunteers कि उन्होंने ESG के फील्ड में, और ये ओपन टू ऑल है, 3,500 plus employees are working for the ESG, or a single step from each person, then definitely it will help. So both to ground and ground to overall coverage to all the employees, that is important for the successful and making a strategy better on the ESG. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. So, Varuna, if you want to, so please share your final remark. How can we improve the same?
Sure. So I'm going to make 3 or 4 concise points which I think are relevant. One is measure. So measure your metrics. Unless and until you measure what your footprint is, be it environment footprint, carbon footprint, your waste generation, and looking at the social impact as well and the social side, you first need to measure, and organization need to start doing that. Second, I think, yes, very valid point made about awareness, but I would say awareness along the value chain, not just within the operations. I think within the operations, if you see most of the companies, when they take data, it comes through various departments. What I feel is it's very, very important for organizations to increase awareness throughout their value chains, including their customers. And I think when the PRSR for supply chain comes in, which is in 26, 27, it'll be mandated, I'm sure that awareness will increase, and a lot of companies are proactively working towards it. I think the last one is enable the ecosystem. So enable the ecosystem beyond your business. For example, companies have the power to enable other stakeholders to come up with the alternatives, support them in whatever way possible, including logistics and other aspects. So I think these are the 4 points from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Varuna. So, sir, if you can add some and to add some other point.
Rightly asked, add. They've already covered everything. I think the most important thing, in my opinion, is imparting knowledge.
Correct.
You see, we use all these technical jargons, but go and ask someone, a common man, what is sustainability. I don't think he'll be able to tell you what we mean by sustainability. So we need to impart this knowledge to everyone in our organizations, our vendor organizations, and we should make efforts to do that, and also to figure out where do we need to work. I mean, see, each company, each industry is different, so it's not one size fits all, so everyone needs to do their bit to figure out what do they need to do in their company, in their industry, and impart that knowledge and do something about it for a gradual improvement. It may be 1% every month, doesn't matter, but at least if it is continuous, then a time will come when you will achieve net zero for sure. Absolutely. Thank you.
So thank you all panelists. You well explain how can make the study. If we summarize the panel, then we can say ki the awareness, the supply chain, value chain partner calculation, the sustainability supply chain, and your better ESG strategy for help us in the Indian ESG strategy. So Akram ji,
thank you so much.